So Minister of Public Safety Dominic LeBlanc testified at the Foreign Interference Committee today. One of the lawyers grilled him about releasing the names of the 11 MPs. They even brought up a testimony from MP Kwan, who's an NDP MP, saying that, and I'm quoting from the document right here that you'll see on the screen, Ms. Kwan considers that without disclosure of relevant information, malign foreign actors will have succeeded in sowing chaos and distrust in democratic processes, damaging the reputation of the House of Commons and undermining the Canadian public trust in its institutions. So the lawyer's going to bring that up on the screen. He's not going to read it for you, but listen to what Dominic LeBlanc has to say about this.
MP Kwan's proposal, an idea, is to have some type of a process to clear the air, and it has sort of 5 features to it. One is that it's focused on the House PROC committee, the RPRD in the Senate, or some type of a joint committee. Second is that it would be an in-camera process. The third is that there would be procedural fairness for the parliamentarians who might face allegations. Fourth, there would be a process that's designed around national security considerations, possibly including security-cleared lawyers or special advocates. And there could be, at the end of this, some type of a report to Parliament about what steps it might take, pursuant to its privilege, as you know, to assess members by their conduct and to take what steps it might take, everything from censure and reprimand up to suspension or even, as we know, expulsion. And so my question is, isn't this a good starting point for having a standing process beyond the life of this commission to clear the air? Because foreign interference isn't going away. It's quite likely, regrettably, that in the future there might be allegations again against parliamentarians. Shouldn't we have some type of a process like this in place?
So again, Parliament committees are masters of their own destiny. The guardians of parliamentary privilege are Parliament themselves, the Speaker being principal amongst them. I don't think that this kind of process is particularly instructive for a few reasons. You mentioned parliamentary privilege. Well, the reason the NSICOP was created, none of this existed before 2015. It was a deliberate commitment that our government made to have parliamentarians from every party, including Ms. Kwan's, able to see all of this sensitive information, participate in reviewing security agencies, not just CSIS. I visited NSICOP's offices. I've met with the committee a number of times. It is a different locale than a Procedure and House Affairs Committee in a room in the West Block. The NSICOP committee doesn't benefit from parliamentary privilege precisely so that somebody can't decide to leak in Parliament to discuss with the protection of privilege in Parliament or a committee some of this information, which would be very injurious to the national security of the country and to the safety and security of the people who work for national security agencies. So there's a number of concerns. I understand what you're suggesting, but I think that the architecture that you're suggesting, NSICOP was created for a very specific reason. Some people may not have liked the report that they chose to issue. It is their report. And I don't think there's an appeal mechanism or a review of a report. I think that, A, it would be extremely cumbersome. You'd have to probably create it statutorily, not to violate the Security of Information Act. When I think of our government's decision to create NSICOP, I worked on that as the House leader with then Public Safety Minister Goodale. And the idea that there's some parliamentary committee that can review this, if we're not going to be able to make the names public, you have sort of a hearing before a parliamentary committee. The other thing, too, I worry about, to be honest, is Parliament has, and recent examples have shown us, an inability not to treat this information in a very partisan way. And I think setting up a structure that necessarily is more partisan than NSICOP might not provide that relief that people are looking for.
So could there be an NSICOP 2.0? Whose terms of reference are expanded and whose procedures are adapted to incorporate some of the elements here that MP Kwan has proposed?
I'm not going to purport to decide what some future parliament might do legislatively. You probably have taken note that some parties in the House of Commons currently voted against the original decision to create NSI COP. I think it's worked very well, but I understand what you're looking for, but I don't believe that the architecture or the suggestions as you've enunciated them will necessarily provide a reasonable solution to what you're seeking. I have a lot of confidence in the women and men sitting in the House of Commons. I share the view shared by others, senior public servants here, that people serve in Parliament honorably. Some may have lacked judgment in certain contexts, but I think we need to be careful not to also continue to fuel an impression that has been grossly exaggerated since this report of NSI COP was made public.
Okay, Commissioners, I think those are my questions.
Name the 11 MPs, man. What's partisan about that?